Hey everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Devin the Bear. This is going to be kind of a different one because there are no fight cards this weekend. So we're just going to be kind of talking some news, talking some matchups that are coming up in the next few months. There are some ONE FC cards this week, but it's not going to be this weekend. And by the time this episode comes out, they'll already be done. So we're just going to kind of move past it. As far as MMA news goes, Diego Sanchez has officially professionally split from Josh Fabia.
Yep. So he has cut all professional ties with him. So Josh Fabia went on a 15-minute rant, pretty much completely shitting on Diego Sanchez, it was pretty unprofessional. But I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah,
to
not
see
at all.
that he does that. I mean, this guy's a crazy ex-girlfriend, so he's just pretty upset with that, saying that Diego's he's bad with his money. He's an addict. He is.
Which the bad with his money thing, I don't understand, because he says that he's bad with his money, but then he says he doesn't tip at restaurants.
Yeah.
And that he has a $3,000 car, and then he only has a 1-bedroom apartment.
So what's his name? Joshua Fabia was like, oh, Diego doesn't tip his waitresses or waiters.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with anything?
Oh man, he chalked it up to saying basically, oh well, he doesn't tip his waiters. He just pulls like the "I'm a big shot celebrity" kind of thing. And
I think he pulls that.
I was like, I don't. Celebrities probably tip. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
George
but
Clooney
okay.
tips very well. Did you know that?
I'll bet.
Yeah,
George Clooney probably tips and is just like, I don't know. What's a number with a few zeros in it? Like,
yeah.
That'll work.
He I was talking with an Uber driver about it one time, and we talk about like waiting tables and stuff, and past jobs, and yeah, he'll tip like whatever the bill is times 2. So if I am ever waiting tables again, I fucking hope George Clooney walks through that door.
Yeah, dude, just.
Well, also just because it's George Clooney, he'll be like, dude, the Ocean's
just follow
trilogy?
George Clooney around, and then as soon as you see him go into a restaurant, just sneak in and wear what the servers wear and just pretend.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
I would just wait George Clooney.
But I mean, like the following him around part, I don't want to follow him around.
It's George Clooney. Why not?
Because that's called. I don't want to be a stalker.
So you don't know how to make the next Ocean's movie. Moving on, Josh Fabia. But yeah, no, it's good for Diego. I think everybody's kind of happy for Diego.
Yeah.
But no one really knows like if he's got something planned or if he's just doing it because he's done with his MMA career, so he doesn't feel the need to have him around. We're all just kind of waiting on an official statement or at least a response from what Josh Fabia said from Diego. So, whatever it is that he has to say, it's. I don't think that there's any bad way to look at this. I think it's nothing but good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah, I think Joshua Fabia said he was his sponsor and then completely shits on him. And so whenever you go through AA or, whenever you're becoming sober and you have a sponsor, your sponsor is someone you confide in. There's someone you look up to. And so for him to go out there and be like, I'm his sponsor, and then completely shit on him, it's just like, I don't know, man. The fucking nerve on this guy. I was watching Mike Swick, and Matt Serra actually completely trashed the shit out of him. And it was really funny because Matt Serra was like, dude, he walked up to me, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, clip. I'm just eating dinner. And Mike Swick had Joshua Fabia. They talked and stuff, and it was...
It's like Josh Fabia thinks of himself when he's out on the streets.
Yeah.
It's like he thinks of himself as like Jamie Kennedy or Ashton Kutcher, and he just runs up there like, hey, buddy, you just got punked.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, huh? It's like, what are you talking about, man? No one knows who you are. Wow, that's disrespectful. You should respect me.
And it's like, fuck you, buddy, honestly. But yeah, no, he's just, I'm glad to see him gone, though. Hopefully Diego gets the help he needs. Hopefully he's training hard or whatever he's doing. At least he's not having someone hang him upside down with a safe word and punching him in the face. So that's always a good thing.
And that being said, I don't want to see Diego compete.
I don't either. If he does grappling, I'd be okay with that, but
I don't know, man.
If he was to do like a couple submission matches, I mean, we'll see. But I think whatever he's doing now is definitely, hopefully, going to be the right move for him at the end of the day.
Mentally, I hope it's healthy for him. because that's what he needs.
And then what else happened? Oh yeah, John Jones has officially he's not with Ali Delaziz as his management anymore. He was in talks with First Round Management.
Okay.
He picked up Richard Schaefer, who was a big he was a agent for a lot of boxers in Golden Boy Promotions.
Yeah.
So that's where Richard Schaefer comes in, and Richard Schaefer actually has a really good relationship with Dana White. So hopefully they can kind of work something out right there. But
I hope so too, because now that John Jones said that he's going to wait a year and he's just going to work on himself, and I think he needs to do that because physically, the shape he's in is not natural heavyweight shape.
No.
So I think he needs to kind of refine himself at his weight right now. Hit about like 250, but get a lot more lean. Become a lean 250.
Yeah.
And then just the physical comparison between him and Francis at that point would entice a lot more fans to watch that, which I think everybody's already excited to watch it. But if he comes in looking better than the pictures he's posted, because dude's in phenomenal shape, but he's not the shredded John Jones we're used to seeing.
Right.
So you're around 250, but you hit that 250 in a lean way, and I think that gets people a lot more excited because that shows you're in better shape. Because he's just kind of bloated where he's at right now.
Yeah, he's just yeah, exactly. It looks like his belly's sticking out a little bit. It's not what used to, like what you're saying. We're not used to seeing that type of John Jones. But him taking a year off, I think, is best. I mean, just to kind of like focus on things and let's just taking care of. He'll be 34 when he comes back. But some of these older, something about these heavyweights, they kind of come in and they get their grown man strength. That's why they stick around for so long. You know?
I mean, you look at Stipe and Daniel. And
yeah.
These guys were doing it for a long time, and they were always dominant.
Yeah. Francis Ngannou's not very young.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in his mid-30s.
Yeah, I was about to say he's in his 30s. I know that. So, I just think it's only a good thing for John to take a year off, focus on himself, and focus on feeling good at heavyweight. Because I think looking at the shape that he's in, it being his first fight at that weight, how does he carry himself? How does it affect him when he's fighting? Because the weight that you're at when you're fighting is different than when you're sparring.
Exactly.
So if he's trying to carry himself and like lug all that extra weight around in a real fight against someone like Stipe or Francis, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to kind of, like I said, refine that skill set as a heavyweight, refine his conditioning, refine his physique to really be a true heavyweight.
It was like what it makes you think about is like when Gian Vellante moved up to heavyweight and he fought Maurice Green on his return, and they're two completely different body types. But the thing is, when he went up to heaveight, I mean, even the commentators are like, "Damn, like he's got a dad bod now, like, his guts sticking out and everything." And by the time like that third round came in, like he lost to Maurice Green, but Maurice Green had him in arm triangle, but it didn't even really look like it was in. I think what it was is Gian was just exhausted.
And that's exactly how I felt about the Chris Barnett tapping out to Ben Rothwell. He was just so exhausted that any amount of pressure putting on his neck just made him want to tap.
And like he got hit with a good uppercut right before that, but it was also like he just was out of it. And so I think John Jones just saying, you know what, like I'm going to just wait a year to do that. But my only thing is, though, is like in a year, are they still want to give you this fight? Are they still going to want you to fight Francis Ngannou? I mean,
yeah. Like I said, though, if they can put together, as far as like a publicity manager or something, if they could put together some like string of like posts or pictures of him getting in better shape, people are going to be like putting those pictures of him and Francis side by side, and that alone will hype people up for that fight. So if the general public starts getting like really hyped for a fight, Dana will bend to that, because I mean, look at the things he's done that no one asked for. Yeah,
like he who is that? It reminds me also, like, you know, Israel Adesanya is kind of built the same way as John Jones, tall and lanky but strong. And whenever he went up to light heavyweight to fight Jan Blachowicz, you know, he had said his legs felt really deflated, and so with John, like, he's known for his skinny legs and stuff, but he's a strong dude, but he just has chicken legs. He's just the way he's built. And so it's going to be like, you know, what's it going to be like fighting these 25-minute rounds against, you know, full contact, like fighting. And how are your legs gonna feel? I mean, these big guys are gonna go in there. That's the first thing you're gonna do is they're gonna chop at your legs. That's always been a thing with John Jones. Is when people fight John Jones, is they want to implement leg kicks. You know.
Well, I agree with that, but I think with heavyweight, you worry about leg kicks a little bit less.
Yeah.
In heavyweight,
Yeah.
they're just trying to get their hands on you for the most part.
Shit, Francis was throwing up against Stipe.
Yeah, but it's the one guy.
Yeah.
I don't mean that to say like, oh, that's one guy, Devin.
Yeah.
I just mean like that's the one guy. Him and Stipe are about the only ones I would think you'd really have to worry about it from.
Yeah.
I don't think there's too many other guys in the heavyweight division that'll throw leg kicks where I'd be like, hey, watch for his leg kicks, man.
Fucking Derek Lewis throws flying knees.
Derek Lewis is a wrestler now, man. What are you talking about?
Blue belt.
He's a wrestler.
So what's it called?
He'll take you down.
I know he would, 100%. And I wouldn't even fight it. Like, you know, fuck it. And then, Kevin Holland's training with AKA now on his wrestling.
He's working with Daniel Cormier. Did you watch it though?
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier's like, hey, push his head, push his head, push his head.
It doesn't even push.
Doesn't even touch his head, man.
And I'm like, God, man. And so,
I mean, he's working on it. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, he's working on it, but it's just like. What my thing is, though, is like, okay, you got all the way to the UFC, and you never learn these things. It kind of makes me wonder what Travis Lutter, his head coach, Travis Lutter was the guy at one point. Like, he was, he won the Ultimate Fighter. He went in there fight Anderson Silva, lost Anderson while he was on this historic run.
Everybody thought that if it went to the ground, he would beat Anderson Silva, and then Anderson Silva got him in a triangle.
Yeah. And so
elbowed the crap out of his head.
It makes me wonder, though, is like, what's Travis Lutter really doing to discipline Kevin Holland?
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I understand Kevin Holland's almost a 30-year-old man, but it's like whenever you're going in, you have to be coachable. You have to be a student whenever you go in there and you learn from these head coaches.
If you're not humble, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can't be coachable if you're not humble, and as a coach, you got to kind of let them know that.
Yeah, and I don't think Kevin Holland really cares to be like, hey, no, I'm down to be coachable, you know?
Yeah.
And, I just think he's going to go in there. I mean, he wants to drop down to welterweight. That's his goal right now, is to get down to welterweight, and I don't think he should. I think middleweight's perfect for him.
His body type fits perfectly into middleweight. I know that he's trying to fight Kevin Lee. Mm-hmm. Kevin Lee has a fight now, though, with Sean Brady.
Yep.
Which that one's going to be a fun fight to watch.
Yeah.
If it stays on the feet, I'm not sure if I'd necessarily want to give Kevin Lee the advantage.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense to give him the advantage in that fight on the feet. But it's at welterweight. It's going to be a little different. And Sean Brady, he's got heavy hands, but if he gets Kevin Lee down at any point, it's Sean Brady's fight. Yeah, for sure.
And
but I know that Kevin Lee is one of the guys that Kevin Holland wanted to fight.
I think what's called with Kevin Lee moving up to welterweight. I wish he would stay at lightweight. I really do. I think lightweight's perfect for him. And I mean, I know he was pushing for a 165-pound division for a long time, but
I think lightweight's too competitive for him now.
Yeah. He tore his ACL in that Charles Oliveira fight.
Yeah, so he's lost to Charles Oliveira.
He's got a sick-ass head
lost
tattoo.
to Edson Barbosa.
No, he beat Edson.
He beat Edson?
Yeah, he beat Edson.
Huh.
Yeah, I think after that fight, he fought Rafael dos Anjos, and he lost to him, but that was at welterweight, and Rafael put it on him the entire fight. And I think with Kevin Lee, though, it's like I don't know what he has to do to be more disciplined for 155, but I think that weight class is perfect for him. You know, he's been able to to go in there and wrestle some of these guys, take them down, choke them out. And whenever he fought Gregor Gillespie, it's like, okay, you're training with GSP now, you're training with Faraz Zahabi. And Faraz Zahabi is one of the best coaches to ever do it. It's crazy how good of a coach he is, and I feel like his names are not really spoken up as much since GSP retired. But I really don't like him going up to welterweight just because I feel like he's just too small for the class.
His brother's in MMA now.
Yeah, he knocked that dude out.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name, but
yeah, I think Kevin Lee's on a good track, but I don't know. I feel like everybody passed him up at this point. It's a little too late.
Yeah, and I think that's something he has to think about too, though. Is like now, because he fought Gregor Gillespie when no one wanted to fight Gregor Gillespie. He went out there and knocked out Gregor Gillespie. Now he's fighting Sean Brady, and no one wants to fight Sean Brady right now. And so it's like, okay, Kevin's taking these tough fights. Like, I'll give it to him that because no one else is taking him. So I feel like there might be something there he sees that he's like, no, I can definitely beat that guy. I mean, he sees holes, man.
Can you imagine if Sean Brady goes in there and puts Kevin Lee away, no one's gonna want to fight him, man.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna give him a top. I'd say they're not gonna give him a top 5 guy. I know that for sure. Maybe a top 10.
Who's
Maybe Sean Brady.
Sean Brady, yeah, he'll probably get a top 10 if he beats Kevin Lee. But I don't even think Kevin Lee's even ranked at welterweight.
No, he's not. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they'll give him a top 10 guy. But if they do, I don't know who's going to take that.
Yeah.
Because right now at welterweight, like, you have so many guys, it's like backed up almost. Even though Kamaru Usman's going and beating these guys, the whole Masvidal thing kind of backed everything up.
Yeah.
And now that he's not going to be fighting Leon Edwards, it's going to be even more backed up. So you have Colby Covington, Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz is back in the mix.
Michael Chiesa is putting his name in the mix.
Chiesa's up there. There's a lot of guys that are up there. That RDA's still up there. So there's a lot of guys that I think are up there, but I think most of them, if they take the fight against Sean Brady, that's a huge risk that they don't need.
Yeah.
So I think because they're going to be taking a guy who's ranked underneath them, and most of those guys can't afford it. RDA, you got to think this is his last title run.
Well, I think he wants to end his career at lightweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been at lightweight for a while. He's calling for a lot of fights. I know him and Makhachev want to go back and forth, but Makhachev is set to fight. He's set to fight Thiago Moises, in which also it's like he's fighting below him. I don't think it really does much for him. But I know he wants to fight RDA. He wants to fight McGregor and stuff, but he took this fight against a lesser ranked opponent. And it's like, I get what you're staying active and proving your point, but it's like you're supposed to be better than these guys you're ranked above, Yeah. And so it's like, but I don't think anybody right now in the top 10 wants to fight Islam Makhachev. They just won't leave it alone.
I think that Thiago Moises has a lot to gain from it because he's looking really good coming into this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And if he wins it, that's a big deal. I think right now just beating any of these Eastern European fighters is a big deal because they're bringing so much hype with them.
Yeah.
Most of them have winning records. Most of them are on winning streaks. So if Thiago Moises wins, that's a big deal because Islam is one of the best guys coming from there right now.
Speaking of those Eastern European guys, man, that man hit Hasbala, the new GOAT.
Mini Khabib.
Yeah, Mini Khabib, Khalil. But yeah, he's have you seen that stuff though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, him in versus Abdar. I can't remember his last name, but that's the fight of the century right there, dude. That's the Thrilla of Manila. Like it's gonna be a big deal when those two fight. That dude, they were already comparing. I saw somebody compare the two views. Like whenever Khabib and Conor had their press conference, like in 3 years it gained 6 million views.
Oh yeah,
In 1 week they already have 10 million views for that. And the funniest shit, dude, is so funny watching those guys just go back and forth, and because they're. One of them, like, Hasbala hit Abdar, and fucking Abdar was like, "You hit like a girl." he's like, "That's your best shot." He's like, "You're never gonna beat me," and stuff. But yeah, I mean,
it's such a spectacle.
Yeah, it's funny though, man.
Then you get Hornswoggle as the ref.
Dude, that'd be cool. What's it called? I would pay to see that. Well, even if they fight, I'll pay to see that. I want to see these dudes go at it. They hate each other. Like, there's some real beef right there, but. Yeah, man, it's definitely interesting with where Kevin Lee's gonna land though. I wish he would, like I said, stay at lightweight. I think he will have better success at lightweight, but he does. I don't think he likes cutting weight at all.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, he's a stocky ass dude. He really is. If you see him, like, I mean, I don't know if maybe he just buys his shirts too small or what, but it's like, man, like he's a big guy, but
yeah, he's one of those like real wide body guys.
He has a very
broad shoulders.
Yeah, he has almost like a Greco-Roman style body, and he does have he has a background in wrestling as well, so it makes sense why he was so good at it. But I just feel like the guys at welterweight are just too big for him. I mean, like, even look at RDA. Him and RDA are kind of the same size, and he got completely dominated by RDA. So it's like, what makes you think you're gonna move up to welterweight and do something against Sean Brady? But granted, I mean, props to him for taking fights against guys no one wants to fight.
Yeah, and Sean Brady is one of those guys that he's gonna move up no matter what. Kevin Lee needs to move up, or else. Yeah. So it's a really good matchup. I don't think Kevin Lee's back is up against the wall or anything, but mentally, I think that he's there. because he knows like he needs to stay relevant pretty much. And Sean Brady's at a point where no matter what he does, he's going to be relevant because he's dominating all of his fights. He's undefeated. He's going to come in here and he's going to beat a number of guys before he takes his first loss, I think.
Yeah.
So this matchup with Kevin Lee is one that I didn't really expect. So it's very possible this could be his first loss, but if he loses, he's only going to learn a lot more. So
yeah, I mean, from what I remember, you told me about him, and I need to go watch some of his fights to really see him. But I mean, I know you're a big fan of his, and so it's gonna be interesting to see. And I was thinking about randomly the other day was Ally Quinta. Like I don't know where that guy's been at.
He's got a win over Kevin Lee.
Yeah, he does. He has 2 wins over Kevin Lee. So
2? I didn't know he had 2.
Yeah, they fought. I think Kevin Lee's first fight in the UFC was against him, and both of them went to decision. But it was just like Ally Quinta I really enjoy watching him fight, but he just doesn't really fight. I mean, he's busy being a real estate agent up in New Jersey.
I guess so. Real estate must be popping right now.
It is.
Over in Long Island.
And so, and I was also kind of trying to figure out what's going on with Zabit, because he got removed from the rankings.
Oh yeah, because from being inactive, yeah.
And there's a source that knows him pretty well, and they said that he just has no motivation. Like he's even thinking about retiring.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is that people didn't want to take fights against him. And the ones that did were below him. So he was like, okay, well, obviously they want to fight, but I can't do that. So that sucks.
Yeah, so sucks to see Zabit not around anymore because, I mean, everyone want to see him fight for the title at least once.
Abraham Lincoln. Dagestani Abraham Lincoln, man.
Dude, yeah, like he was supposed to, like, there was a lot of talks about him pretty much being the same exact fighter like Khabib, just much better stand up. And Khabib even said like he was the next big thing. Like, he was like, wait till he breaks his.
And he is, dude. That guy's fun to watch.
Yeah.
But nobody wanted to take fights against him. So when he's fighting, he's out there trying to fight these guys. And like I said, only the people below him are taking the fights, or at least saying they would accept the fight. So it's like with Leon Edwards. It's so hard for him to get a fight. It's just really unfortunate. You see him start being inactive, that they start to fizzle out like that. That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it's just because he at one point he wasn't really talked about. Yair Rodriguez was ducking him a lot, didn't want to fight him, and putting that fight off. And so, even right now, when you look at the featherweight picture, like I really don't know what's next for what. I know we have Volkanovski defending the belt against Ortega, but you look at guys like Max Holloway. Like, when's he gonna fight again? And who's he gonna fight again? You know.
Before we move off of the welterweight division, we're talking about the standings and that. If Lima keeps ducking Michael Venom Page is starting to talk about moving to the UFC at some point.
Right.
He said it's inevitable that he's eventually going to move over. When he does, it's going to be at welterweight. So I feel like his name's going to automatically be in the top 10. I don't think that he will be ranked in the top 10 until he gets a win. But it's not like we've never seen that happen, though. I mean, look at Michael Chandler.
Right.
When these Bellator guys come over, and Gilbert Melendez, Ben Henderson, when these guys come over, they get the fights that move them up quick.
Yeah.
But I think Michael Page is one of those guys that the level he shows is top tier level. Michael Chandler showed he's top tier level, but look what happened when he came to the UFC.
Yeah.
It didn't go well for him. Gilbert Melendez as well. He was pretty competitive, but not as competitive as you would hope.
I think he went undefeated for like 13 years before.
Yeah, and then he came to the UFC, had some trouble.
Yeah.
Ben Henderson, coming from WEC, looked amazing. Looked amazing when he was in the UFC, and then just couldn't keep it going. So I think Michael Page, though, I think he can come in, shake things up. I think him and Kamaru Usman would be a really, really entertaining fight.
You think? I want to see him fight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
That would be fun too.
I think that's the matchup I want to see if he makes it to the UFC.
I don't want to see Stephen Thompson get pieced up though.
I don't think he gets pieced up.
I think he does.
I don't think so. I think he He's gonna be a very technical match, but a lot of things that
It would absolutely be a technical match.
I think the way that Michael Venom Page would have to fight him would play into how Stephen Thompson likes to fight.
I don't think so.
And but yeah, I think that I mean I like Michael Venom Page. He's really good, and they keep giving him guys that he's much better than. But the thing is no one wants to fight him. Douglas Lima doesn't want to fight him, and Douglas Lima's defending his title in a couple weeks as well. But he doesn't want to give Michael Venom Page that chance to fight him again because he knocked him out, which I get somewhat. But it's also like, hey man, like you gotta fight these guys.
He's what 5-0 now since his loss to Lima.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to at some point. You got to defend your belt, dude.
Yeah.
But him and Thompson, Stephen Thompson, I think Stephen Thompson's on the way down. And as far as speed goes, Michael Page is so much faster than Stephen Thompson.
Yeah. And I know MVP, he's 34. So it's like if he's gonna come in the UFC, it needs to be.
It needs
now.
to be pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think he should try and push real hard to get that title fight over there at Bellator. And if it doesn't work out, just say, okay, well, let's figure out a deal to let me go to the UFC. Scott Coker's a really cool dude. He works really well with his fighters. I'm sure he'd be upset to lose Michael Page, but he's a cool dude. I think he'd make something work. But yeah, I think if Michael Page fought in the UFC, I don't think a lot of guys in the welterweight division beat him right now. Because you look at the top guys that he could get matched up potentially within the year.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's a guy who's going to sit on the shelf.
No, he's active. He's very active.
Yeah. So if he was to move in this year, he'd want to get a fight by the end of the year, I would imagine. Assuming he gets moved over to the UFC quickly enough. I would see him getting matched up with. It wouldn't be anyone not top 5. I don't see it being anyone who's not top 5.
Yeah.
So.
Put him against Masvidal. Fuck it.
I was thinking that, but that wouldn't go well. I think he beats Masvidal. He's way too fast for Masvidal. Masvidal would never be able to get those shots in to where he can get that timing figured out. Yeah. Which when he gets his timing figured out to the point where he sees those reactions and he sees what combination would end you, I think he's one of those guys that's real good at looking at footage.
Yeah.
And his coaching, his team is really good at that and working on it with him. Michael Page is one of those guys that it doesn't matter how much footage you look at. It's nothing like being in there with him.
Because he's so unorthodox, you don't know what he's going to
do.
And that's what, look at the guy when he broke that guy's nose. The guy was he knew that Michael Venom Page was going to toy with him a bit, and so he decided to toy with him back then. He got kicked right in the nose.
And it's the speed that throws people off, I think.
Yeah. His
speed is ridiculous. With his kicks specifically, with his punches too. But that dude showed he can take people down. So I think he's a pretty favorable matchup.
Michael Venom Page has
for any of those guys.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Yeah. Total joke. But yeah, people don't really know that. Well, if you're Brendan Schaub, you don't know that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
All you gotta go do is look at Michael Venom Page's highlights.
Yeah. That dude's great anywhere the fight goes. And that's why I think him and Kamaru would be a great matchup, because if Kamaru takes him down, Michael Page is okay with fighting off his back.
Yeah.
Fighting underneath Kamaru is particularly hard.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see that. And I think Kamaru gets Michael Page down.
I think if it goes to the ground though, Kamaru would win that. Stand up wise, it's gonna be hard to tell.
I don't think Kamaru beats him standing. He's obviously got the power advantage.
Yeah.
But the power doesn't matter if you can never get to the guy. And the way that Kamaru swings with his punches, he wouldn't get to Michael Page at all.
Because that knockout he had over Jorge Masvidal was a great knockout. It was by the way he still throws his hooks like how he used to.
They're not very clean.
No, and it's like there's not much technicality behind it. His straight and his jab are phenomenal. They're good, but the thing is his hooks are just still really kind of how he used to throw them whenever he was just strictly a wrestler type fighter.
And the whole time he's going to be trying to land those punches on Michael Page is going to be taking his legs out.
Yeah.
So he better utilize his wrestling early if he fights Michael Venom Page. Other than that, you have like Leon Edwards. Bilal Muhammad, I think, should be up there if he beats Damian Maia, which is kind of a weird matchup.
It is a weird matchup, but I kind of agree with it, though. I feel like that's...
I do, too. It's just it's a weird one because it's like if Damian Maia wins...
He's retiring.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if Bilal Muhammad wins, like, oh, okay. So it's one of those where one guy maybe doesn't have a lot to gain, but the other guy, that's a big deal if you beat Damian Maia.
Yeah, Damian Maia said that this is his last fight.
Yeah.
And so I think it's time, you know. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think he's finally just saying, you know what, man, I can't do this anymore. And it's like, okay, you know what, dude, like, you've been fighting since like 2007 in the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, you fought for the world title, you fought for the middleweight world title, you fought for the welterweight world title. And when he fought for the middleweight world title, he was just strictly just submitting guys, you know. Yeah. And so even as one
of the worst fights of all time, him and Anderson Silva.
Yeah, guys, go check that one out. No,
don't go check that out.
Don't listen. Don't watch that fight.
Just look up a picture of it, and that's the whole fight.
Yeah.
Because I'm certain the first picture you'll see is Anderson standing there with his hands on his hips, looking down at Damian Maia, who's laying down and waiting for Anderson to get in his guard, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I remember watching that fight. Anderson was like yelling at him and all pissed off, and it's like it takes two to tango, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you don't get to be mad. Like he's pulling guard is a move. Like that's a tactic to pull guard. Like if you don't engage, you're part of the problem too.
Yeah, and the thing about that too is like, okay, like you know what he's gonna do, and then it's like, and you're pissed off he won't stand up with you. I mean, fuck.
How many people want to stand up with Anderson Silva? Come on, man.
And it's like, you know, you're better right here, he's better right there. Which one do you think he's gonna go and do?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I remember what's that? Dana White like berated the shit out of.
He tossed the belt in the ring. Didn't even give it to him.
He told his manager put it on him. You put it on him. I'm putting it on him. And so, because that was the first card they ever had in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, that's right.
Card. And so it was a big deal. And then of course they put on one of the worst main events.
Yeah.
And who else fought on that card? That's when Frankie Edgar beat BJ Penn. And
was that the first time?
The first time.
Yeah.
And then
and then when he did it again, I was like, "See, guys, I told y'all."
What's that? I was re-watching the highlights from the Tyson Griffin versus Frankie Edgar fight, which was Frankie's debut.
Yeah. And
stuff, and then coming into the fight, Tyson Griffin was undefeated. And stuff, and it was just a good fight. These guys go back and forth because at the time, like whenever you saw the lightweights, they didn't keep that type of pace, you know. And so it was like, damn, it was just a shift of gears, pretty much. You know, it was a good fight. But
Frankie Edgar was kind of the new breed at the time with fighting. He was came in as a wrestler, really, really, really worked on his boxing and became a boxer almost. I think Frankie Edgar was the man. He was the best lightweight of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, till Khabib. And it's crazy that we say Khabib's greatest lightweight of all time.
For me, I mean,
it makes sense. I'm not going to deny it.
Yeah, I mean.
But it's crazy because, like, he didn't.
I go back and forth with him being the greatest lightweight
weird.
of all time, though. And it's not a knock on him. I think he's a phenomenal fighter. I'm a big fan of Khabib. I get so much shit for being a fan of Khabib.
You don't go 29-0 for nothing.
Exactly. And I mean, like, I've always gotten shit for being a fan of his, and people don't like it. But I mean, dude, the way he beats people is like it's fucking
so dominant.
Impressive. Like,
I became a fan in his UFC debut when he was freaking tossing freaking pedophile dude.
Which one? Piece of shit. Oh, Abel Trujillo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was tossing that guy around, doing
21
freaking
fucking takedowns
suplexes
in 3 rounds.
left and right. Dude,
Yeah,
the suplexes is. When I saw him doing that, I was like, dude, you just don't see guys do this anymore, man.
No.
And I was an instant fan.
I think in his debut, he beat Kamal Charlerus. He knocked him out.
That was his debut?
That was his
debut.
debut.
I thought the Trujillo fight was his debut.
That was like I think that was a couple fights in.
Oh, okay. Well, then I watched it. First time I saw him fight was Trujillo. So whatever fight that was.
It was still a big deal, though, because he broke the record for most takedowns in a fight. And everyone, I mean, I'll give it to. Actually, I'm not even gonna give that motherfucker respect. Never mind.
Yeah,
I was gonna say never. Nah, that dude's a sick fuck. But, yeah, man, it was just Khabib. Like, it's hard for me. I go back and forth on like, is he the greatest lightweight of all time?
Because look at the people Frankie beat.
Yeah.
BJ Penn, freaking Sean Shirt,
Gray
Maynard. Like the list of people he beat were like nothing but top tier guys.
Yeah.
The list of people that Khabib beat, Like 2 of them were top tier guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Other guys were working their way up.
It wasn't until Khabib got the title until he was facing real challengers, and it's not a knock on the guys that he fought, but
it's just that when you're at that level, no one else matters.
Yeah.
You have to fight people at that level to really solidify what you're doing. Because when you're great, and I've said this before, I think on the podcast several times, when you are great and you go fight people who are not on your level and you dominate them, that's fantastic. That's exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to go fight the guys who are on your level, or at least can be competitive to you. And I know a lot of people disagree with this, but I think his fight against Dustin Poirier was the first time we saw Khabib feel like he might have been in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. Same thing with Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Johnson was definitely one of those things too. He tagged him clean in that first round, and Michael Johnson was throwing fucking heavy because he knew what he had to do.
But other than that shot, nothing.
Yeah.
He had nothing.
Yeah.
And Khabib put him up against the cage, put him on the ground, and that was all there was to it. In his fight against Dustin Poirier, he knew this fight can't go on because at least, and this is my opinion.
Yeah.
In that fight, he had to turn it on because he was like you said with Khabib, he finds your pace and then he multiplies it.
Yeah.
He never even found Dustin Poirier's pace because Dustin Poirier's pace is a slow one.
Yeah.
But there's so much effort in a fight with Dustin Poirier that it doesn't matter what the pace is. The effort is where it's at. You have to fight hard if you're going to fight Dustin Poirier. And I think Khabib figured that out and was like, okay, then I'm just going to go ahead and give it all I got right now. And then tired out Dustin almost immediately and then tapped him out.
Yeah, it was watching that. It was I was frustrated with that fight because I just felt like Dustin never really had a chance to do anything in the sense of like they never really like helped him like have a fair chance against Khabib.
Yeah,
you know?
Everything was kind of stacked against him,
yeah,
which is the story of his life.
Yeah.
So I don't think he really sees it as a big deal. But it's like, yeah, man, if that fight was in America, maybe it would have gone different.
Yeah.
If your coaches had more time to be ready for that fight, maybe it would have been different. Like, there's so many little things that could have made that fight different, but everything stacked against him, and he still put Khabib in trouble with some strikes, and then had him in a really deep guillotine for a little while.
Yeah.
That was just a very intense fight.
Yeah, like in the first round it was all Khabib, but the second round, like, Dustin was landing better shots, but you could just tell he was exhausted. I mean, even though you're fighting at night, it's 100-degre weather still out there.
I wouldn't say that first round was all Khabib. I would say Dustin Poirier looked good, but I wouldn't say he won it, and I don't think the judges gave it to him either. But I think he looked good, and I think in that fight, that's when Khabib was like, okay, cannot stand with him because
he was tagging him up from the outside, but Dustin was getting really, really sloppy with his punches.
He was, and he often does.
Yeah.
But Khabib didn't have much of an answer for it other than go for a takedown. And I don't know what the deal is. Dustin Poirier has some of the best jiu-jitsu at lightweight.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to start using that again.
Well, I think, honestly, if he fights Conor, though, I think we're going to see it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But if he fights Oliveira, he's going to need it.
Yeah.
Because if he sticks with his technical striking, him and Oliveira is a great fight in the striking aspect. But if it goes to the ground, it should still be an absolute entertaining chess match. It's just as technical. It's just as much of a technical matchup on the ground as it is on the feet.
But I think with the Michael Chandler fight that Charles Oliveira had, he still showed that he still has a couple holes in his stand-up. And when it comes down to the feet, I think Dustin Poirier has that advantage completely.
I think Michael Chandler has more explosive power, more dynamic power than Dustin Poirier. But Dustin Poirier, once he puts it on you, he really pours it on you.
Yeah.
So if at any point he catches Oliveira, he picks his shots better than Chandler. So yeah, if he hurts Oliveira, he'll put it away.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it goes to the ground, I think that's exciting too. And I hope in the Poirier-McGregor rematch, I hope it goes to the ground because I would love to see Dustin Poirier get a good submission win.
And Conor, he's people kind of underestimate his ground game. He has good ground. I just think that he just kind of abandoned the whole idea of going to the ground.
Yeah, I think his level of his ground game is if you get taken down, prevent them from doing anything. And then if you are on top, I don't know. I just don't see Conor.
He showed a good ground game when he fought Max Holloway.
Yeah.
He tore his ACL too, and he took him down.
He showed good ground game against Chad Mendes too, off the bottom. He was able to stop Chad Mendes from doing a whole lot off his back when he was on his back. So, I mean, it's there, but I think Conor's mindset, he's not going to use it. Yeah. Even if he gets taken down, his mindset is lock it down and get back to your feet. So, I hope Dustin Poirier can get a submission win. I think that'd be sick.
I think that'd be like, okay, I knocked you out and I submitted you. I mean, and
go home.
Yeah, it's just, and that's what one thing is like, I wonder what's next for McGregor if he loses that fight, because you really can't say that. Like what the definitive answer is, Dustin Poirier beats him again. Yeah. Like even if you want to, it's like it's still McGregor. He's still good, but I think in that second fight we saw Dustin took his best shots and he just ate him. I was like, okay. I just think Conor is still too small for lightweight. I mean, he looks better at lightweight than he did. I don't think he'll ever make featherweight again. But
I don't either. Lightweight's probably his only option, because if he moves up to welterweight right now, he's just gonna get dominated.
Yeah.
And he's gonna get knocked out, especially against freaking Kamaru.
Yeah.
If he fought Jorge Masvidal, I think that'd be an interesting fight, because Masvidal's got the power, and he likes to use his timing, but as far as timing and precision goes, I think Conor beats him in that.
Conor has the edge in that. Yeah.
So I think that's a fun matchup. You got the Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz 3 fight at that weight class. So if he wanted to move up, I wouldn't be against it. If he wanted to stay at lightweight, I wouldn't be against it.
I think I don't think Nate Diaz plans on cutting back down to 155 though. He said he's like, I just want to stay at 170.
That's what I'm saying. If he wants to move up to welterweight, he's got that Nate Diaz 3 rematch.
You remember when they offered
the rubber fight?
This is actually right after Conor versus Dustin 2 was they offered Charles Oliveira to fight Nate Diaz at 170. And he said, no, I'm just going to get a title shot. And everyone was saying how stupid he was for that. And then like a month later, he gets the title shot. Yeah. And so I guess waiting out worked for him. But yeah, I remember it was that Chael Sonnen was like, it made like 12 videos talking shit about how dumb Charles Oliveira was for doing that. Then he still ends up getting the title shot. And now he is the champion.
Yeah, I won't lie. I didn't think they were going to. And they didn't originally offer him the shot.
No.
Because I think I was one of the people that said, like, I don't know, man, maybe he should take the fight because they're not going to offer him that. And they didn't. Dustin Poirier turned it down against Chandler. So, which I don't blame him. Chandler's not.
Yeah, they offered him.
He shouldn't be fighting for the title, and Charles Oliveira showed that.
Yeah, they offered him both, though. They offered him Oliveira versus Poirier or Chandler versus Poirier, and he was like, no, I want to fight McGregor one more time. And so, because I think Dustin deep down knows that he said, no, I'm the world champion of this division. And he was like, so I'm just going to go make this money and go get that.
His words were, if he's going to be the champion, he wants to earn it. He doesn't want to be given it.
Yeah.
But it's like you weren't going to be given it.
Yeah.
You'd have to beat, someone.
Yeah.
But, whatever. Whatever it is, go fight McGregor, get a big payday.
Yeah.
In that trilogy, that rivalry, and then move on.
Like,
he better.
And so,
because if he doesn't, he's gonna look real stupid.
Yeah, he's gonna look really bad.
He's gonna look rich, but
Yeah, I mean,
stupid.
Shit, man. Forrest Gump was rich.
I just think of Ben Askren.
Just getting fucking
walking away after getting knocked out by a YouTuber.
I was thinking about that shit today too, and I was like, man, that fucking guy, dude.
Oh, you know what? We can talk about that. Speaking about that,
what's that?
Jake Paul is now signed with Showtime Sports.
Yeah.
So it's a legitimate boxing promotion. So people have said like, oh no, he's gonna have to fight real boxers now, but I don't know, man. I think like, what if Showtime signed him, knowing, hey man, he'll bring a ton of money. Let him fight who he wants.
It's exactly what it was. They're not gonna. They saw he's a fucking cash cow right now, and they're like, yeah, let's sign him. Because I think who's that? Floyd Mayweather has a contract with Showtime, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's so many things you can do with them, and so not just like them fighting each other, but just in general, like there's so many fights you can make happen with Jake Paul.
But in the boxing community, there's no respect for Jake Paul. They're
No.
not going to pay to want to see that.
No.
Or they're not going to want to pay to see that. So is there money there?
That's the other question too, though. Is like exactly what you just said.
Because you
Is
look
there
at
money
Triller, it's a bunch of celebrities wanting to go see that.
there? Yeah.
So of course there's money in it. But you look at Showtime Sports, they're not going to freaking go see that.
Yeah.
You'll probably still get some celebrities on a Jake Paul fight, but not like Triller did. And if Showtime Sports wants to stay a respectable boxing promotion, you do not headline a card with Jake Paul.
Yeah, there's was that, and a lot of people were even saying like Triller's in the fucking hole right now. Like Dana White even came and said, he's like, they're in the fucking hole right now.
Well,
He's like,
because of Oscar De La Hoya.
yeah, he's like, they're in the fucking hole. He's like, he's like, they just lost their biggest star right now. He's like, who do they have now? Who are they going to promote
They
on
have
Triller?
Logan Paul.
Yeah, and I mean that's not even going to work.
And he's the least active fighter on their roster, I think.
Yeah, he hasn't fought since
and
he fought.
I say fighter because I mean fighter, not retired.
Yeah,
from another sport, not a freaking real estate agent who trained boxing, freaking whatever else they have on their roster. Like as far as actual fighters go,
yeah.
which is Logan Paul an actual fighter? I don't know, but he's trying to be, and I'll give him that.
Trains with Paulo Costa.
Yeah, I'll give him that. He tries. He actually is trying to make a legitimate career out of this, but he takes himself too seriously.
Yeah, there was a clip posted. He met with Gronkowski and he fought a couple NFL players and stuff, and everybody was like, okay, that's cool, now spar with a real boxer. And it's like he does, like he
does every day.
He does. It was so it's like it's just a fucking, it was literally just for views. Like who gives a shit, you know? It's just like, yeah,
at the end of the day, they're YouTubers. That's what they know to do, to try to generate hype for themselves.
You know, it's like Ryan Garcia hangs out with them. He's a phenomenal boxer and he gets a bunch of shit for it, but like look how old he is. He's like 21, 22, hanging out with a bunch of YouTubers. Like it's gonna be a thing, you know? It's just like that's how that's what like celebrities or YouTubers do, is they just post content and shit. They post TikToks, they post fucking YouTube clips. Like
and that being said, I don't think Showtime Sports would be willing. I don't know. You know what? I take that back. I think Showtime Sports is probably hoping for some Jake Paul antics.
Yeah.
Because they're probably looking at like UFC and they're looking at Triller and they're like, man, we need someone to be exciting. Because these boxers don't do jack.
No, they don't give a fuck. They're just too busy counting
They're too busy making
yeah.
money and going like, why would I jeopardize this?
Yeah. They're like, I'm not going to do that
Jake Paul's
shit.
had the money, so he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's going to jeopardize it because he's already got money no matter what he does.
What he does. He jeopardizes. He don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
As dumb as it sounds, it's just like he's going to keep making money and people are going to keep buying the bullshit that he
problem
sells.
child.
Yeah. Fucking douchebag. But, yeah, man, that's really it with that shit. And what else happened?
As far as matchups go, we were talking matchups earlier.
That's right.
There's a lot of matchups that have been made. And we had mentioned the Sean Brady and Kevin Lee one. Mm-hmm. Max Holloway is set to fight Yair Rodriguez. We were talking about Yair Rodriguez earlier. That one's going to be real exciting. I don't see that fight being not exciting at any second.
I see a one-sided fight.
I would agree, and I assume you're talking one-sided for Max Holloway.
No.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, excuse you. I would agree. Oh, wow, my mic's been pretty far away this whole time. I would agree, but Yair is known for just kind of barely being in the fight and then winning it. That's hard to do against someone like Max Holloway.
Who's constantly in the fight and you just can't really catch him like how you caught a Korean Zombie.
But we've seen Calvin Kattar fight him. Mm-hmm. We've seen what not to do. So is Yair Rodriguez smart enough to do that? Because physically he can go in there and do it. But is he smart enough to go in there and do it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like, I mean, look at the other fighters that he's fought before, though, and they're all different styles. When he beat up Jose Aldo, he beat up, whenever he fought Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski came out with a great game plan in their first fight.
Jose Aldo's got a fight against Pedro Munoz.
That's right, yeah.
That'll be a good one.
That's going to be a really good one. I think, I don't know what to expect out of that one. But back to the whole Holloway thing, though, is just, I just think Holloway just has a much better fight IQ than him to not let him do that.
I agree, and I think that fight IQ is natural for Holloway at this point. Yeah. I don't think he has to really think about what to do next while he's fighting.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't spar anymore in his training, because he knows how to fight. Those were his words.
Yeah.
So him and Yair Rodriguez is a really interesting matchup. I think it's kind of like volume puncher versus power puncher.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be fun. Every second of that fight's going to be fun.
That's what's going to be crazy. It's going to be a very exciting fight. I know I said one-sided, but it really is, because Yair puts on exciting fights against almost anybody.
We can have a one-sided fight that's still exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do we see a fight where it's a unanimous decision in favor of one guy?
Yeah.
But the other guy was there the whole time.
Yeah.
I think a fight that we're going to see that's going to be like that, Uriah Hall and Sean Strickland.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that fight. And Sean Strickland's stand-up was looking fucking great his last fight.
So I think that's going to be a fight where it's going to be very exciting, but
just don't throw leg kicks.
Yeah. I don't see that fight. I think whoever goes in there and sets the pace, they're going to win the fight. Because Uriah Hall is susceptible to, I don't know if being complacent is the right way to phrase that, but he goes in there, and if he gets set in one way at the beginning of the fight, he kind of sticks with it. He almost has no sense of urgency sometimes.
It's like he's stuck in the mud. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And Sean Strickland, if he gets overwhelmed, he kind of falls into being overwhelmed the rest of the fight. So I think whoever goes out there and in a sense takes octagon control first and keeps it, not necessarily who takes it first, but who keeps it, they're going to win.
Yeah, because we saw that with Sean Strickland's last fight. He took the pace and he ran with it, and it was that pace the whole fight. It was his fight, 30-27s across all the boards. And
whenever Uriah Hall does that, that's when he wins.
Yeah.
When he doesn't do that, that's when he loses. Same with Sean Strickland.
Yeah, like whenever Uriah Hall lost to Kelvin Gastelum, I mean, still,
he couldn't do anything.
It's still the same kind of way to watch how Uriah Hall loses, though.
Yeah.
You know, he's been finished. Gegard Mousasi finished him, and a couple other guys. I want to say Robert Whittaker finished him. Paulo Costa finished him. And so it's just once they're able to overwhelm him, he just doesn't really know what to do with that. And Sean Strickland, the way he fought last time, he fought very technical and very overwhelming his last fight.
That's what I'm saying. So whoever can go out there and be the aggressor and continuously be the aggressor first, I feel like they're the one who's going to win. That being said, out of the two, if someone's going to make a come from behind win, I think it'd be Uriah Hall, just because of his versatility.
Yeah.
Sean Strickland's striking is a bit more traditional as far as MMA goes, and then Uriah Hall's is wild.
Yeah.
His taekwondo is amazing.
But that one fight you mentioned, Pedro Munoz versus Jose Aldo. I'm excited for that fight.
I am too. I think it could spell the end for Jose Aldo.
If he gets knocked out, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there is a good chance he does get knocked.
Pedro Munoz
he can get knocked out, but he can't get knocked out. But I don't see that one getting finished, just because, I mean, unless Pedro Munoz can wear him out. Because I think that's always been one of Jose Aldo's problems is his gas tank. Once USADA came in, you saw his gas tank completely change. He was never the same fighter.
Mark Hominick being the kind of the first guy to show that.
Yeah.
He was losing that whole fight, but that fifth round he took over.
Yeah, and that fight was almost stopped.
Jose Aldo's face in. Yeah.
That fight was almost stopped in the fifth round, and then he saw with Petorian, whenever he fought Petorian just kind of just ate what he was throwing at him. Then by the third round, Petorian turned it up on him, and by the fifth round, I mean, it was like that fight should have been stopped a lot sooner. But he, like when we saw Jose Aldo fight, who was it? Chito Vera. You know, like whenever he was piecing him up, and it was a pretty decent back and forth fight. But Chito was just kind of, I guess, he looked confused a little bit. But then after that, you saw Jose Aldo just ride his back for the entire third round. You know, so it was kind of like, okay, like you kind of like coasted this third round. But if somebody like Jimmy Rivera, I don't like the people that he loses to are really good fighters. Like he lost to Aljamain Sterling. And Aljamain controlled him the whole fight. I don't think Jose Aldo is strong enough to control somebody like Pedro Munoz for 3 rounds.
Definitely not. Pedro Munoz definitely has the power advantage in that fight.
And so, I mean, I definitely get the speed advantage to Jose Aldo, but I mean, are you going to be able to keep that pace to beat a strong wrestler like him who has knockout power?
He's not nearly as methodical as he used to be. He used to rely heavily on leg kicks, setting him up for those later rounds.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do that anymore.
That's what I was surprised to see. Because I remember we talked about that, and I was surprised to see him throw leg kicks when he fought Chito Vera.
Yeah.
He threw a couple, but he never really kept it consistent. He just kind of left it going. But I think Pedro Munoz takes that one. But as the time goes on, I'll be able to like actually be able to study and really pick somebody. But I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on right there. So we'll just have to wait and see. But the bantamweight picture's looking weird, like we discussed too.
With bantamweight, this isn't a matchup that's made, but I saw someone put these two together and say, "Hey, wouldn't this be interesting?" Cody Garbrandt and Sean O'Malley.
I think it makes sense. The more it's coming together, more it's making sense.
Yeah, because Sean O'Malley needs a top guy. Cody Garbrandt needs a hyped up fight that he can win. So I think that's a great matchup.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley likes to take time in between fights. So
Sean O'Malley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense.
Who's he? He's set to fight somebody. Sean O'Malley is. Can't think of it off the back of my head though.
I don't know if I've seen it. In the PFL, there's Rory McDonald is set to fight Gleison Tebow, and I think that's a long one coming. I think those two guys should have fought a long time ago. I don't know. I don't think that they did, but I think Rory McDonald is gonna whoop Gleison Tebow.
He's gonna beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, he is.
And I don't know. He's just a lot bigger than him. He's a lot stronger than him. He's longer than him, faster than him.
He's a lot better than him.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm just gonna go ahead and just stop naming things and just say he's just better than him.
I don't know, man. Gleison Tebow just ain't all he's cracked up to be, I don't think.
But
there's a lot of great matchups that are coming up in these from like July to September. You have Paulo Costa, Jared Cannonier, Derek Brunson, Darren Till, Islam Makhachev, and Thiago Moises, which we've already talked about. And then Mateusz Gamrot and Jeremy Stevens. That'll be a really good one. We've talked a little bit about Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker. That'll be a really good one. In Bellator, you have Paul Daly and Jason Jackson.
I saw
that one's going to be exciting. That one's going to be freaking nuts. But yeah, as far as the rest of this year goes, we're going to have a lot to talk about, man. There's just so many fights that are really exciting. They should be really exciting as they unfold. Luis Smolka.
He's fighting Luis Smolka?
Sean
that's right, because I forgot Luis Smolka's going up in weight.
Yeah.
Well, he's kind of been at bantamweight, I think.
If Sean O'Malley wins that fight, I guess he can match up with Cody Garbrandt.
Well, that's what they said too. Is like, when Sean O'Malley took the fight, they were kind of like, "Why is he taking this fight? Like, he needs to start taking these higher ranked opponents." Which I agree. I feel like he should. I think his stand up is really unorthodox. Nobody can solve that puzzle yet. He's a big, long, skinny dude with power, and we haven't even seen him get taken down before. We saw him get taken down once when he fucked up his ankle against Andre Sukumtoth.
It's hard to say, what a ill-advised takedown if there ever was one.
Yeah, fucking idiot, dude. I will keep that one short and sweet, but
but I think it makes sense for him to fight Luis Smolka, regardless of what he says. You just lost a fight and then you just won a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So in your last 3 fights, you're 2-1.
Yeah, and the guy who beat him is right now ranked number 15. Right now, if you look at the top 15 rankings in the UFC, Sean O'Malley's not even ranked.
Yeah, so I don't think he should I mean, yes, you always want to kind of take someone who's above you because you always want to be able to rise to the challenge and prove your worth. But for people to have a problem with him fighting Luis Smolka, I don't get that. Luis Smolka's a big name. He's been fighting for a while. It makes sense to me. I think him and Cody Garbrandt is a really fun fight, and I think it does make sense. But him and Luis Smolka make just as much sense to me.
Yeah. And so that's what I would see. So what happened with the the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight?
Deontay Wilder utilized his contract to he took it to court, and he's forcing the rematch with Tyson Fury. So him and Anthony Joshua just kind of get sidelined until he fights Deontay Wilder for a third time. And as we come to an end for this episode, we're going to go ahead and leave the boxing talk for next time, because we're actually going to have a friend of ours, Carlos Nava, on. He's going to have his pro boxing debut with LT Great Promotions. So we're excited to talk some boxing with him. If you guys don't know who he is, you got people in Canada who know who this guy is. We have the Bespoken GTA podcast. They're talking about this guy. So if you haven't heard about him, you better get on now. We're gonna have him on the show when we record Sunday, so we'll release it about Monday, Tuesday. We're gonna get a lot of boxing talk in. If you're not in the boxing world right now, now would be a good time to jump in, because I think boxing's coming back. We're gonna have Carlos here with us to kind of walk you through it.
Yeah, walk you through. We're gonna learn. Well, we're all gonna be able to learn his story.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what this young guy is gonna be doing for the sport of boxing. So he's 23, making his pro debut. So it's definitely exciting to see.
And it's fun to see him come from Pasadena. It's our hometown. Yeah. We don't get to see that a whole lot from Pasadena. No. So it'll be really cool to see. I'm excited to see it. So I hope you guys are ready.
Yeah, I'm excited to give this guy a voice. So we're going to definitely tune in.
All right. We'll see you guys then.